Monday Night Raw was in Uniondale, New York last night, and first of all, I'd like to apologize for reviewing the show so late. If you were expecting to watch my video early Tuesday morning or late last night, I apologize again. I've just been very sick and I actually fell asleep, but I was able to catch up, and I'm just going to get this review out right before SmackDown starts in less than an hour. So Brock Lesnar and Paul Heyman come out to the ring. Brock is, of course, the new Universal Champion. He cashed in on Seth Rollins at Extreme Rules to win the title. Paul Heyman cuts a good promo, and I'm actually happy to see Brock back as champion. I think he's a better champion than Seth. Seth's not a draw. He just doesn't bring anyone into the company. He's not someone who is a top guy. He just can't draw. He's just not that guy. He's not going to draw ratings. His promos are boring. I don't like his voice. I think his voice sucks. I think that actually holds him back a lot. I've never been a huge fan of the way he works. Not a fan of the 10 dives a match. You sell your knee for 90% of the match, and you do 5 dives to the outside. I've never been a huge Rollins guy. I'm happy Brock's got the belt back, to be honest. I hope it goes to Braun next. I'd like to see Braun get the belt. Anyway, Paul is talking about Brock Lesnar. He talks about Philadelphia and how Brock won the title there, and then he introduces the new concept. I mean, he didn't announce that he's the new, he's running everything as the GM. But he announced that there's going to be a 10-man battle royal, and the winner will face Brock Lesnar at SummerSlam. The 10 guys are, you have Seth Rollins, you have Randy Orton, you have Big E, you have Cesaro, Braun Strowman, Rey Mysterio, Baron Corbin, Sami Zayn, Bobby Lashley, and the big dog, Roman Reigns. So Paul talks about Roman. He rips into him, and he then makes a reference to a gelding. I guess that's a castrated horse. It's kind of Seth went there with Becky, and then he left castrated. And Becky got beat up on that show, too. That was a good promo by Paul. Ricochet makes his way to the ring, and he actually has a brief interaction with Brock. I would not want to see that match. It's just not believable. Ricochet's too small. There's been guys who have been small with Brock. He's had some of his best matches. I just think Ricochet's just, I don't know, he's too light. Maybe it could work. You never know. It's just too late, because once Brock gets a hold of him, he can kill him. You have a 6-man tag. You have Ricochet and the Usos against Robert Roode and the Revival. It's a 2 out of 3 falls match, of course, is what they do since they can't cut to commercials during a match anymore. We have to see 2 out of 3 falls every single week. So first fall is a squash for Ricochet and the Usos. The second fall goes to the Samoan drop by the I missed Samoan drop. The Revival hits their Shatter Machine onto Jimmy Uso, and they get the win. So it's 1-1. Fall number 3 eventually ends with Ricochet hitting a 630 splash to get the win first team. So Ricochet and Jimmy Uso are the winners. After the match, you have AJ Styles and Luke Gallows and Carl Anderson, the club, make their way to the ring. Ricochet jumps to the outside. And we have a battle there, but eventually Styles hits a phenomenal forearm to Ricochet, and then they hit Ricochet with the Magic Killer. The Usos get their ass kicked too. The club stands tall, and I guess that feud will continue. Maybe it's a 6-man next week on Raw, but I think I want to see AJ and Ricochet just have a classic SummerSlam matches. There's been so many classic Intercontinental title matches at SummerSlam. You have Bret Hart, you have and Mr. Perfect, then you had Bret Hart and the British Bulldog. That was a classic. Shawn Michaels and Razor Ramon, and they had a rematch for the Intercontinental title. That was a classic. There's been many great Intercontinental matches at SummerSlam. That can be one of the all-time great if they let them go out there and give them 25 minutes to just tear the host down. So you have Eric and Ivar, the Viking Raiders, come out for a squash match. They kill 2 butt jobbers, and then you go backstage. They show highlights of what happened with Shane and Drew against Roman and The Undertaker. They show Drew McIntyre confronting Cedric Alexander backstage. And I just hate it. The dialogue they give Drew is not believable. They have to let Drew cuss. They have to make him more intimidating. Just the words he used, I'm going to kick your butt, stuff like that. It just doesn't come off well. So Drew McIntyre gets stunned by Cedric Alexander. It's a giant upset. He pins him with a roll-up. Holy shit, Cedric Alexander pins Drew McIntyre. It's kind of like when Maven beat The Undertaker. I guess that's where, I don't know. That doesn't look good for Drew. I doubt he's facing The Undertaker at SummerSlam now. They show Finn Balor backstage. I think he's with one of the women, Charlie Caruso or Sarah Screamer or Kayla Braxton, one of the chicks. I forget exactly. It's usually Charlie on Raw, right? It's a tough loss to Nakamura, and then he gets into it, and Joe comes in and cuts a promo on him. Joe went in on him. Roman Reigns. That was an interview. Roman has the interview now. He talks about the ESPYs he won. So next you have Samoa Joe and Finn Balor. Joe pins Balor quickly. After a match, Joe continues to beat him up, but Balor battles back. He kicks Joe's ass, and all of a sudden, after Balor hits the coup de grace, lights go. Immediately you know it's Bray Wyatt. He's now wearing a horror movie mask. Hits Sister Abigail, Finn Balor, and it's just they do all these lighting effects. They do the Bray Wyatt laugh. That's his new gimmick now. He got a huge reaction, but I fear that in like 2 weeks it's going to go back to normal. And Bray Wyatt's going to go back to the boring Bray Wyatt. Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't know. It was really good. It was a good segment, but I'm not going to put my eggs in this basket. I've seen how this ended once before. When Bray Wyatt first came into the WWE on the main roster, I remember those backwoods vignettes with the Wyatt family and the sheet mask and the way he'd rant like he was, David Koresh or Jim Jones or Charles Manson, that cult leader. Eventually it kind of, it really fizzled out, and he became a jobber and became one of the worst acts in the company. So we'll see. It's fresh. It could work. I hope it does. So we see Drake Maverick with his sexy wife, Renee. My God, this guy's lucky. Did he overachieve or what? Jesus Christ, Drake. Anyway, they are... they're in the hotel, and they have Renee Young talking to them through the monitor. It was strange. I say Renee. His wife's Renee. Why do I think Renee Young? His wife's Renee, and she talks to this geek, this basically geek at a clerk at the hotel lobby, and to book their room. And it's just really strange. Drake pays this guy so much money. After that, R-Truth comes. He gives this guy $1, and this guy just got so much money from Drake Maverick. He just sells out Drake Maverick after all the money that he was tipped. He takes one thing from R-Truth, and that's it. It's like, what an asshole this loser is. Anyway, it's more a joke. We see Drake goes to his room at Renee, and then R-Truth shows up, and he asks if Hornswoggle's there. It was kind of strange, and they show the Street Profits watching this backstage. It was, I don't know what the promo was. I think they're going to lose their titles at the next NXT TakeOver, because if they're just going to keep being on the main roster, they may as well have them lose. Mike Kanellis and Maria Kanellis. Maria's pregnant. She rips into Mike. This is just embarrassing. Why not just release Mike Kanellis? You have a whole bunch of jobbers. You have Zack Ryder and Kurt Hawkins still on the main roster. What's the point of keeping them here? Zack Ryder pins Mike Kanellis. This is a joke. And then Maria continues to dress down Mike. She may as well just peg him next week on TV and just have her strap on her man. That's what it feels like. Seriously, watching this guy. We see the club in the back as we go to commercial. They face Kalisto, Lindsay Dorado, and Grand Metalik in the 6-man tag. AJ gets the calf crusher victory in Kalisto. I wish all three of those guys would get released. Kalisto, Lindsay Dorado, and Grand Metalik. They're just three losers. Why not release them all, WWE? Anyway, the Styles team wins. Styles continues to beat up Kalisto. I'm not going to complain. That was great. Seeing Kalisto get his ass kicked is always great. You don't have to throw a water bottle at his face from the top row in the crowd. You can just have him get his ass kicked on live TV. That's always good. Next, we have Seth Rollins being interviewed by one of the chicks. All their interview chicks, the ones who do the backstage interviews, are smoking hot. I mean, they know how to hire them. I mean, Charlie's beautiful. Sarah Screamer's beautiful. Kayla Braxton, Kathy Kelly. They know how to get these girls to do interviews. I think Kathy might be the best looking, her or Kayla, but we don't see Kathy on that TV as much anyway. He says he's going to beat Brock Lesnar. He cuts a promo on Corbin. They're not going to really play up Corbin hitting Becky. So next we go to the biggest disaster of the show by far. It was the Fatal 4 elimination match, which is a number one contender match for the winner to face Becky Lynch at SummerSlam. And Alexa Bliss was very angry about this. She went on Twitter. She said, just disrespectful. And then she says, you can't be rude. Like, I'm sorry, Alexa. I'm a fan of yours. I like you. I like Lexi. I've always liked her. For her to say you can't be rude, it's like, do you know what fucking business you're in? You're in the goddamn wrestling business, Alexa Bliss. What the fuck is wrong with you? How could you be that dumb? Like, what the fuck? You can't be that rude. Like, she is the most sensitive girl. It's like, this girl's a little snowflake. I know she can get away with it. She's really tiny. She's beautiful. She's cute. She's gorgeous. She talks well, but my God, like the way, I remember her and Becky, the way she'd interact with Becky, like she just whined like a girl. She probably went to the back and complained. This girl is just too damn sensitive for this damn business. It's like, holy shit, that's what you're going to complain about? The fans tore this thing apart. It was a fucking disaster. Carmella gets out quick, and it goes on and on with a triple threat with Naomi and Alexa and Natty. Naomi gets eliminated by Natty. And this is just a disaster. This is embarrassing. Nikki Cross got on the mic and told her to cheer for Alexa. Eventually, Alexa tapped out to the sharpshooter, and Becky was there the whole time. She's still selling the effect from the end of day she took from Corbin at Extreme Rules. Becky has something to say to Natalya. She says she is hurting, but she came here to fight. She tells Natalya it's time to drop her smiles. If you think you're facing your friend when you can't come for her title, you are wrong. She will wipe the floor with Natalya in her home country. She says Natalya's career needs something, and it is Becky. Becky says it is the man. Becky says she does a lot better in war than she does in love. Then Natalya says she must not have been a very good lover, bitch. You want a war, you got a war. She will rip that greasy orange mop off your head and pull your horseshoe out of your ass and beat the hell out of you with it. So it was basically a complete rip-off of Brock Lesnar's UFC 100 promo after he destroyed Frank Mir. It was a complete knockoff of that. This is interesting because in Canada, Natalya is very popular. I think we could see Becky get booed, and that's not good because I remember when John Cena first got booed at SummerSlam 2005 against Chris Jericho, the fans never came back. I'm not saying that's going to happen to Becky, but I think she's going to get booed at SummerSlam, and that could be it because like the fans, once they boo you in one city, it's like a chain reaction. All the fans just thought she's not cool anymore unless they're booing her in every city. Becky better be careful. Randy Orton cut the promo about the match. You have Miz TV with Dolph Ziggler. This is horrible. I mean, Miz and Dolph on TV in 2019 is whatever. I don't need to see this. One thing he keeps talking about with Dolph or Miz, Dolph says, Miz, you've become everything they hate. That's what a babyface says to a heel. A heel's not supposed to say that to a babyface unless Miz is turning heel. Dolph makes a reference to Goldberg. This was just, I don't know. I just did not care about this. They had Miz attack Dolph. It's like, just let Dolph leave, please. I don't need to see this guy anymore. They show Drake Maverick. His wife is half naked in the hotel room when they go back there. And then, of course, R-Truth rolls up Drake, and Drake kicks up, and R-Truth hits a crossbody onto Drake's bed. His wife's half naked there. I'm not going to complain. She was there, and then R-Truth wins the title. They show his wife Renee screaming. They go to the main event next. Battle Royal. Winner faces Brock. So we knew who was going to win. I thought for sure it's going to be Seth because I just knew it has to be Seth. Who else is it going to be? They're not going to probably go to Randy Orton. I think Randy really hates Brock after what happened 3 years ago with the elbows. It's not going to be Baron Corbin. You never say never, but I don't think it's going to be him. He's lost 3 times. I don't think they're going to put Strowman there because they don't want to beat him yet. It's not going to be Rey Mysterio. Not going to be Cesaro. Not going to be Big E. They're not going to go back to Roman Reigns. It's not going to be Lashley. It's certainly not going to be Sami Zayn. So I just thought, well, it's going to be Seth. It has to be. Seth wins. It sets up the match with Brock, his rematch. It's strange. The last 2 matches they've had have been squash matches. Seth squashed him at WrestleMania, and Brock squashed him at the Extreme Rules. So they'll have a great match this time. I think they're going to have a really long match this time. They show Seth go back and forth with Heyman, and then he says SummerSlam's going to be like WrestleMania, and Seth Seth tries to get Brock to come to the ring. Brock hits the ring apron with a chair, and they just have a stare down with Seth in the ring, Brock on the outside, and the show ends. So Raw was pretty decent. It was a good build up to SummerSlam. Set off the 2 big matches they have, Seth and Brock, and Becky and Natalya. So that was fine. I thought the show was pretty decent. And stay tuned because my SmackDown review is going to be up very soon.